Hello everyone, Ed Talks Film here. My name is Ed and we're going to talk film, and today we're going to be talking about the latest film by Darren Aronofsky, The Whale. The Whale is directed by Darren Aronofsky and is adapted from a play and is written actually by the playwright of the original play. And it follows this man who is extremely overweight and has become overweight because he lost somebody very close to him. And essentially, his daughter comes back into his life, and you're kind of just watching all of that unfold in a way. I don't know how to describe it. It's almost like The Wrestler, but if instead of it being like a narcissistic wrestler guy, former pro wrestler guy at the end of his rope, it's a extremely morbidly obese man who's suffering from severe health problems. And it kind of all takes place within his house. Basically, there's very very few shots that take place outside of this apartment that this guy lives in. And this is a very interesting kind of film to come out of Darren Aronofsky in recent times, because his last film, Mother, also took place singularly within a home. So now he's done that again with The Whale. I just think that's a funny comparison. But yeah, how do I feel about this movie? For starters, a lot of people are very, very excited about this movie because this is kind of the comeback of Brendan Fraser, who we all know from the Mummy movies, George of the Jungle, that type of stuff. He disappeared from Hollywood after a very, very unfortunate incident that happened with him, which I think is very sad and kind of spells a lot about, kind of the kind of predatory nature of what was going on in Hollywood anyway. That, was very soon afterwards exposed, but probably not nearly to the extent that it really, to the depth that it probably really is. But he's back, and I don't think a lot of people are ready for Brendan Fraser to go from like this kind of tight ripped dude to how he is in The Whale. But yeah, he's back, and I can say this: he's freaking awesome. This is probably the best performance of the whole year from an actor. Um, I would be very surprised if Brendan Fraser didn't win the Oscar. He's extremely delightful. He's a character. His character is just so lovable. You can't help but love this guy, and that's kind of like the feeling that you get also from a lot of the characters in the film, save for a couple, specifically his ex-wife, where you just kind of like, this guy is just like, man, I feel really bad for you, but I also just love you. You're just such a cool person. I wish you weren't destroying yourself. Um, and he's able to play that really well, and he's got a lot of these very kind of subtle, um, things about his character and his acting that, when you see his interactions with other people, you can see like this tenderness, you can see this optimism, but you can also see like he is really struggling, and you can see kind of like all of that just fade away when he sees something that really makes him happy. In particular, his daughter, played by Sadie Sink, he seems to very um, much in the film be very attached to her, very emotionally attached to her, and just loves her so much. He's just so amazingly proud of his daughter, and she kind of treats him like garbage, to the point that when Sadie Sink was in the movie, I was kind of like, God, when is this girl gonna not be in this movie? Because she was just annoyingly just ruthless and mean in the film. And, it was kind of hard to watch sometimes, but ultimately she kind of like pulls through in the end. Hong Chau, love her. I've been a fan of her since Inherent Vice, and I've never stopped. I absolutely love how she commands the screen. I love her acting. I love just everything about her. Everything about her acting I think is brilliant and very lovable as well. You really buy into specifically her friendship with Brendan Fraser's character in the film. I really, really kind of loved kind of like the tenderness and the warm-heartedness, but also like this kind of deep sadness, specifically tied to the backstory between how her character became connected to Brendan Fraser's character in the film. And you can see all of that playing into the film before it's even revealed kind of how they kind of got together. And, her on-screen chemistry with Brendan Fraser is great. Then we have the boy from Insidious in the film as well. He plays this kind of Christian missionary who feels like that God has given him the purpose that God has given him is to kind of help Brendan Fraser's character and be there for him and bring him to God or whatever like that. He's kind of funny. Honestly, he's probably in the movie a little bit too much. I'm not necessarily super sure what the point of his character was to a certain extent. Like, I got most of it, but then there came a time where I was kind of like, all right, dude, you're kind of like here. And by the end of the movie, you do kind of realize, like, oh, okay, there's a interesting point to that, and it comes in a realization by Brendan Fraser's character about his daughter. So there's a lot of things working in the screenplay that kind of you got to be patient. You got to be patient. You got to wait it out. The movie's not going to give it to you all at once. You kind of have to sit through it and kind of wait for the movie to be like, all right, this is what we're doing. This is why we set this up for you. It's all because of this. And some people who are kind of impatient, there's a lot of very impatient moviegoers now. I feel, which is interesting to me that like you're gonna watch a whole movie and you're gonna be mad because the movie didn't tell you things about it up front, and it kind of waited so that way. I just don't understand that. I just don't understand how people will be like, I just hate that the movie like kind of tricked me or whatever, and then at the same time be like, why is like the whole movie in the trailer? Why is stupid? But but I think all of this though, all these great performances are also elevated specifically by Darren Aronofsky's direction. There's a thing about watching Brendan Fraser's character eat in this film, and it's not necessarily done in a way that's kind of like, I mean, it's gross. It's gross and it's grotesque, but it's more because it's like you can tell he's using it as a crutch. You can tell he's using eating as a crutch. You can tell this is an addiction for him, and you just it's almost like in Waves when he's kept wrestling with the jacked up shoulder, and you're like, why are you doing this, dude? This is completely self-destructive. It's got a very similar vibe to that. And I know there's a lot of controversy about whether this film was fatphobic or homophobic or whatever, but I think all of those people are kind of missing the point of the film, because the film does nothing but portray this guy in a very, very loving manner. It really doesn't matter that he's fat. It doesn't matter that he's gay. He's addicted. He's got a problem. He's destroying himself. And there's kind of nothing you can do about it. And we all know what that kind of feels like, because a lot of people have had people like that in their lives. It's very, very sad to see. So, the film does a really, really good job, I think, of portraying kind of what addiction, what pain can do to somebody. I think where this film ultimately falls a little bit short for me is the screenplay of the film. This film is one of those movies that doesn't necessarily show the biggest strengths of what happens when a play is adapted to screen. There's things you can get away with in a play, specifically with dialogue, that in a movie you really can't get away with, and a lot of that is monologuing and just saying backstory, saying how you feel, things like that. That's things that you see a lot in plays. As somebody who participated in their school theater program for a couple of years, for like 3 years, and then has seen plays, seen movies adapted to screen. You see that plays adapted to screen. You see a lot of that. You see a lot of oh, back when this happened, I can't believe you did this. And in a movie, you really can't get away with that because there's not like kind of that visceral quality, I think, of having somebody right there telling you that. And because of that separation of the screen, it kind of just comes off as really cheesy and melodramatic. And this movie doesn't necessarily escape that. There is a lot of like, I can't believe you left me when I was 8 years old. It's like, he knows that. He knows that. Why are you telling him that? Right? Like, there's got to be a smarter way to convey that to the audience. But this film, similar in a way to like Fences probably, is kind of more of a direct play to screen adaptation than it actually was like an adaptation in the way like in like a Kubrickian sense, right? Where he takes something and he makes it his own. This film kind of really feels like it was probably like the play, copy paste, the screenplay, Darren Aronofsky directs the play on screen for you all. So, you know, that was a little bit troubling for me, but ultimately it didn't kill the experience overall. It was just kind of like, nah. It was kind of like, all right, some of this dialogue is kind of annoying because you're doing this. But I don't think it was enough to kill the movie. And ultimately, I think the movie leaves you with a very, very good taste in your mouth by the end of it. I really, really felt like, wow, I can't believe I just experienced that. By the end of the film, there's a very, very powerful moment that is a callback to an earlier moment in the film between Brendan Fraser and Sadie Sink that I thought was extremely powerful. I thought it was very poignant. I thought it was very sad. When you really think about it, it almost has the Black Swan ending in a way, and maybe that gives something away, maybe it doesn't. I'll let you guys interpret that how you will. It almost has the wrestler ending too. Darren Aronofsky. Very fascinating. I'm just coming to a whole realization right now. It's very... I'm gonna think about that. I need to rewatch both of those movies now. This is the companion piece to this is the third in the trilogy that comprises Black Swan, The Wrestler, and The Whale. I'm saying it right now, up front, right now, so everybody knows that is what this is. That is the realization I've come to. But yeah, no, I really, really enjoyed this movie. I think Brendan Fraser will probably win the Oscar. At the very least, he's going to get nominated, but he should win the Oscar, I think. I think this is a phenomenal performance. I want to see a nomination for Hong Chau for supporting actress, because she was freaking amazing in the movie, all right? So, yeah, The Whale. I thought it was great. Did you think it was great? I don't know. Tell me in the comments down below. Thank you all for watching this video, and there will be more coming soon. I'll see you guys next time. Adios.